In the previous video, someone posted images of the protagonist without makeup on the school forum, which led to all her friends turning against her. As she ran to leave the school's bullies caught her and took her to the bathroom. Several students gathered at the door to see what was happening. The girls wanted to take off Jukyung's makeup to reveal her real face. However, Suho entered the bathroom and held the hand of the group leader, who was mistreating his beloved. Then, the protagonist runs away, and her boyfriend goes after her. On the way, Seo-jun tries to hold Jukyung to find out what is happening, but the girl breaks free and continues crying and running. But soon the boy finds out what this is about and goes to Sami's school to ask her to remove the things she posted on the forum. Instead, Seo-jun is surprised to learn that it wasn't her but someone from the institution itself, as they would have to have access to the forum to do so. Meanwhile, even the protagonist's brother starts fighting to defend his sister and starts fighting with a boy who is talking badly about her. Go-woon is the one who catches him and takes him out of the fight. She was also upset with what happened, but says that violence at this moment will not be the best for anyone. Suho looks for his loved one in all the places he imagined she would be, but he doesn't find her anywhere. He starts to think the worst, and this despairs him. After making sure the protagonist is not at home, the girl's mother enters her room to leave a package and ends up finding out about the makeup course she has started taking. At school, when Seo-jun arrived in the classroom, he went straight to Soo-jin and told her to come with him, or he would say in front of everyone what she did. When they are alone, the boy asks her to delete the video and says that she may have thought she destroyed Jukyung by doing that, but she only destroyed herself. When Suho finds out, he won't even want her friendship anymore. However, Soo-jin refuses to delete the post. Suho continues until late at night looking for his beloved, and when she has nowhere else to go, the protagonist returns home. He finds her entering the gate, but before she can say or do anything, the girl enters. When she enters the house, Jukyung's mother is furious that she found out about the course alone and starts fighting with her daughter. She wants the girl to ask for a refund for the course and says that she won't let her do it, then she tears up the registration card. The protagonist says that she is working to pay for it, and when she realizes that everything could be over, she simply explodes. We have to take into consideration what she went through that day. Even her brother, who is a pain in the ass, sometimes feels sorry for what his sister is going through and tries to console her, but she locks herself in her room. Meanwhile, the teacher decides to end his relationship with Hee-kyung because he thinks that his lover's sister didn't go to school because she was too affected by the discovery that the two are together. The next day, Suho's father's right-hand man goes to Suho's house to apologize for what he did and explain that the boy's father really didn't know anything, but that he took responsibility so that his son wouldn't hate him more. Afterwards, Suho goes to the protagonist's house, and her brother tells her that she will probably miss another day of school, as she has been locked in her room since she arrived the night before. At school, the boy and Seo-jun need to tear down the posters that have Jukyung's face on them. They were the photos she had taken to promote the school, but after everything that happened, the students started doodling on them, and the only way is to rip them off. In the classroom, the teacher scolds his students when one asks if they will change the face of the school now, since the protagonist is not that pretty. The man says that everyone knows how she must be feeling right now, until the girl doesn't show up to class again and is disappointed that no one is worried about her. And Suho, throughout the day, kept sending messages to his loved one, hoping that she would give him a sign that she was okay. Seo-jun finally managed to find out who posted that about the protagonist, and when he arrives at the girl's room to intimidate her and tell her to delete the video, he finds Go-woon already doing so. Later, Ju-young goes to take a bag to his sister that Suho asked him to deliver and begins to despair when he thinks that she might be doing something to hurt herself, which is why she is locked and very quiet in her room. However, she just wasn't in the room. The youngest tells how Suho is worried about the protagonist and asks her to at least answer his calls. Meanwhile, Jukyung's teacher called her mother at school to tell her about what was posted on the student forum. When the woman finds out, she starts to feel bad about the way she has been treating her daughter, not realizing it before. That there was something wrong going on. The protagonist decides to leave the house and goes to Soo-jin's house to ask if she was the one who posted those things, and what she feared most is true. The girl couldn't bear to see the couple together and thought it would make Ju-kyung leave school, so Soo-jin would have everything back to normal. Soo-ho, to calm his anxiety, tidies up the comic book store, and on a wall that is made for those who frequent the store to write, he leaves a message underneath something that the protagonist had written when they were little. The store owner is playing cards and asks the boy to draw one to see if anything comes out about the couple. However, the card that Soo-ho draws is about separation. When Ju-kyung arrives home, her mother hugs her and starts crying, so Hee-kyung tells her that their mother went to the protagonist's school and discovered the things that happened to her at the old institution. Later, when it's just the protagonist's father and mother alone, the woman confesses that it's her fault for always destroying her daughter's self-esteem, which is why the girl was afraid to tell her things. Now she understands why Ju-kyung was so upset when the woman put makeup on her and why her daughter uses so much plaster. And Hee-kyung tries to give advice to her sister, to ignore what others say, that if she is confident, no one will touch her. The next day, the protagonist's mother takes her to a doctor to see what cosmetic procedures she can do to feel more comfortable with her appearance. However, at the scene, the man begins to want to change the girl's entire face to make her look like she does with makeup. So her mother takes her out, and in the car, the woman says that if her daughter wants, she can transfer to another school that no one will know about and start all over again. At night, Ju-kyung goes to the comic book store, and Soo-ho ends up going too. When he finds her, he tries to do everything he can to cheer her up. With the same dances she did for him when they were little, but the protagonist doesn't recognize them. Then, Soo-ho takes his beloved to a place with a beautiful view and says that now she no longer needs to run away, as he will always be by her side. And she adds that Ju-kyung is stronger than she thinks, even stronger than him. Meanwhile, the teacher is close to where Hee-kyung works and ends up seeing a boy asking her out. The woman knows he is there, despite being hidden. She agrees to go out with the boy, and when he asks her if she is dating, the woman says she is single. Soo-ho accompanies the protagonist home, and when she arrives in her room, she goes to take out her cell phone to send him a message, at which point she comes across a very cute video of the boy doing a little dance to make her laugh. Later, Soo-ho decides to follow his girlfriend's advice and talk to his father, at which point he comes across the message he left warning that she would leave the country for a while. So the boy goes to the man's house. However, he is already at the airport, and the two agree to go to a great restaurant when he returns to Korea. The next day, the protagonist decided to go to school with her real face and face her fear and the people who had something to say about her. While he was inside a stall in the bathroom, he heard the bullies talking about his face and Soo-ho, so Ju-kyung decided that he was tired of hiding and went after them. The girl put each one in their place, and then, to finish, Soo-ho kissed her forehead to confirm that they were together. And the teacher keeps thinking throughout the day about the image of Hee-kyung with the guy she went out with the night before. The man is full of jealousy. Hee-kyung is with his parents in the car and stopped near the school. The youngest is on alert to warn if someone is going to intimidate the protagonist so that they can act. When the teacher passes by the car, he thinks there is only Hee-kyung inside and starts throwing leaves at the vehicle, shouting for her to get out of there. He only realizes that she wasn't alone when the woman's parents come out to see what was happening. So the man apologizes and runs away. As soon as the teacher arrives to teach and notices that Ju-kyung is present, he gets emotional and says that he was so worried about her, then he has to leave the classroom because he was crying. Later, Soo-jin goes to the bathroom when the protagonist is alone and says that she can't believe she had the courage to go to school without makeup, adding that the girl must be trying to put on a little show to get attention and that everyone could fall, but she does not. Ju-kyung really doesn't understand what Soo-jin is up to, and to her surprise, at that moment, Soo enters the bathroom to defend the protagonist. The girl knows that she was the one who posted the video and photos. She says that Soo-jin should be kneeling down and apologizing to Joo-kyung. At first, Soo-ah even tried to understand why her friend acted that way, but then since the protagonist didn't want to leave the house anymore and no one had heard from her, she thought Soo-jin would regret it. Soo-jin says that she's always been a horrible person and doesn't regret the things she's done. So Soo-ah runs away, and Joo-kyung follows. The protagonist explains the reasons for keeping the secrets, and soon the two make peace. Soo-ho ends up meeting Soo-jin, and he tells her to apologize to Joo-kyung and get it over with. He knows that the girl doesn't like what she's doing and that she's never been like that. However, the girl continues on her way. Meanwhile, Joo-young throws herself on the ground and tells Go-woon that if she doesn't feel anything for him, she should step on the boy, and that's what she does. In the next scene, Seo-jun is thinking about what Soo-jin told him one day about him liking Joo-kyung and not acting. The boy ends up getting angry and kicking a can, which hits Joo-young. The protagonist's brother starts crying and venting to Seo-jun, saying that now he can move on but that he doesn't understand why Go-woon doesn't give him a chance. After class, Soo-ah and Joo-kyung go out together, and at one point, they end up coming across the bullies from the protagonist's old school bothering Hae-min. So the protagonist decides to help the girl, which results in the three of them fighting with the other three bullies. Suddenly, a classmate of the girls arrives and says that they can go, that he will deal with the situation from that moment on, and that way the bullies won't bother them anymore. Hae-min started to be friends with Soo-ah and Joo-kyung. The three became a loyal trio. Meanwhile, Soo-ho is worried that his girlfriend hasn't given him any news yet, and his friends say that he can't be too clingy. If he is, Joo-kyung will run out in the first week of dating. The next day, when she is helping her mother at the salon, the protagonist receives a gift from the woman, a beautiful pink suitcase, which she can use to carry her makeup and brushes. Her mother wants her to quit work and dedicate herself to the profession she chose. She supports her daughter and believes that she will be greater than Selena, the girl's idol. At night, Hee-kyung is called to pick up the teacher from an establishment. The man has gotten so drunk that he is sleeping at the table. And the woman's parents are at the market when they come across that man who deceived them about the treasure. They run after the guy, and the one who stops him is Hee-kyung, who saw the whole chase and stopped him. However, her parents ended up discovering that their daughter and the teacher had a relationship. In the next scene, we see Seo-jun going to see Soo-ho at the martial arts academy. The two make a bet, and whoever wins has to grant the other a wish. Since it was Soo-ho who won, Seo-jun had to perform in a public place, singing a song. Afterwards, the two go to a restaurant, and Soo-ho tells his friend that she would like him to sing again and believes that Se-yeon would want that too. Seo-jun reveals that if he had won the bet, he would ask his friend to allow him to reveal his feelings to the protagonist, so that she would reject him and the boy could move on. Soo-ho meets up with his beloved later and at first acts like he's upset with her, but he soon gets back to normal and ends up blurting out that he loves her. At Soo-jin's house, her father scolds her in that violent way once again, and the girl acts the same way. The next day, the teacher ended up sleeping at Hee-kyung's house, so he eats with everyone when it gets dark and is already considered part of the family. When the protagonist arrives at school, everyone is talking about Soo-jin. It turns out that someone heard in the bathroom that she was the one who posted things about Joo-kyung on the forum, and that person decided to post about it there too. Soo-jin runs out of the room, and the protagonist goes after her. Joo-kyung asks if she doesn't feel bad about what she did, and Soo-jin says no. Even so, the protagonist proposes that they forget what happened and return to their friendship. However, Soo-jin says that she doesn't want that and goes on her way. But we see that the girl starts to cry a lot after hiding. Joo-kyung spends as much time as she can studying for her makeup course test and, in the end, manages to pass. To celebrate, she and Soo-ho plan to take a trip to the beach. Seo-jun calls the protagonist and asks to meet her. He has something to tell her and says that she needs to go alone. Despite knowing what her friend has to say to his girlfriend, Soo-ho encourages her to go. The two go to eat at a restaurant, and the boy says he needs love advice. He practically talks about the situation the three of them are in, but Ju-kyung doesn't understand that she and Soo-ho are involved because he doesn't mention names. The protagonist even thinks he is referring to Soo-ah because she is also dating. The next day is our couple's trip, and Soo-ho leaves his cell phone at home so they can better enjoy each other's company. But something happens. The boy's father ends up in the hospital for emergency surgery. The man has a brain hemorrhage, and as Soo-ho left his cell phone at home, no one has been able to contact him. Returning to the couple's trip, the boy made a scarf for the protagonist with the wool she had given him, and the two had a very fun and romantic day. Hee-kyung goes to Seo-jun to make a proposal to the boy. He simply took off on social media after he appeared in that public place because he lost the bet with Soo-ho, and she wants Seo-jun to sign with her company to launch him into the world of music. Soo-ho's father's right-hand man looks for Seo-jun to see if he can find out where the boy is and tells him what happened. The two spend the day looking for Soo-ho, and at the end, Seo-jun discovers from Soo-ah that the couple is at the beach. Coincidentally, Ju-kyung's cell phone was out of battery, so no one could contact either of them. Returning to the couple, Ju-kyung talks about the conversation he had with Seo-jun and talks about his theory that he thinks the girl he likes is Soo-ah, which makes Soo-ho burst out laughing. Seo-jun and the man manage to find the two on the beach and tell the boy what is happening. From that moment on, Soo-ho had the feeling of fear of losing his father spread throughout his body, and the protagonist tried to give him a lot of support. At the airport, when it was time for them to say goodbye, as the boy was going to where his father was, Ju-kyung said that she loved him too, and the boy asked Seo-jun to take care of her while he was gone. As soon as Soo-ho disappears from the protagonist's sight, she bursts into tears for fear that the boy's father won't survive, and Seo-jun tries to calm her down. In the next scene, we see that 2 years have passed and there is a class reunion. Everyone is drinking, but Ju-kyung is already very drunk, and the boys demand that her partner arrive to take care of the girl. When he walks through the door, we see that they were referring to Seo-jun. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me. Until next time.